What is up, everybody? It is May 5th, 2026. Iran warns the U.S. to stay out of the Strait of Hormuz after Trump says the U.S. will guide ships. So the Iran war continues. Israel continues to genocide Gaza and Lebanon. All of it's happening. Turkey's going to be taking nets probably. And hey, at the end of the day, America is still fighting for its life. And at the end of the day, the rest of the world is also fighting for their lives. And we're kind of seeing how everybody's changing sides, picking a side, and we're really trying to see where things are taking us. We're going to look at the news a little bit. There wasn't really a lot of big news today, right? This was pretty much all we had to see. This is pretty much the most that was on our radar. And at the end of the day, we're going to look through some Twitter posts at the and what kind of how that's affecting everything. Iran warns U.S. to stay out of the Strait of Hormuz after Trump says U.S. will guide ships. President Donald Trump says the U.S. will begin Project Freedom on Monday to guide stranded ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's military has warned the United States Navy to stay out of the Strait of Hormuz after President Donald Trump said the U.S. will help free up ships stuck in the Gulf. U.S. forces will be attacked if they enter the strait, and commercial ships and oil tankers should refrain from moving unless they coordinate with Iran. Ali Abdali, the head of the Iran's military unified command, said in a statement on Monday. Why are maritime laws failing to secure the seas? Strait of Hormuz blockade and other major naval sieges in modern times. OPEC Plus announces symbolic oil output rise during the Strait of Hormuz closure. So, what was said? We warn that any foreign armed forces, especially the aggressive U.S. Army, will be attacked if they intend to approach and enter the Strait of Hormuz, the statement said. So when we see this entire story developing and how everything's kind of been coming into fruition, we can kind of tell this isn't ending anytime soon. So as much as Pete Hegseth wants to believe that that's true, that's probably not going to happen. Iran launches missiles and drones as the U.S. forces enact Trump's Project Freedom. At least 10 sailors have died as a result of conditions in the strait. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed Tuesday that at least 10 crew members have already died ahead of the arrival of President Donald Trump's Project Freedom, describing stranded crew members as vulnerable and isolated as tensions escalate. Speaking at a White House press briefing, Rubio also outlined the administration's justification for the operation, emphasizing that U.S. forces are acting defensively. They're sitting ducks, they're isolated, they're starving, they're vulnerable, Rubio stated, as crew members have been stranded for weeks. And at least 10 sailors have already died as a result of civilian sailors, he added. Under President Trump, the United States will help our friends, he added. We're going to stand up to rogue regimes like the one in Tehran, and we're going to be unashamed to use our power and our abilities to project military power in the service of our national interest above all else, he said, highlighting the defensive nature of the U.S. action in the strait. There's no shooting unless we're shot at first. Yeah, right. We're not attacking them, but if they're attacking us, he said. We'll shoot down drones, we'll shoot down missiles, but if it's defensive, it's defensive in nature, this is defensive. This is a defensive operation, and that's what is occurring here. Meanwhile, again, you also have the Iran deep state fears rise as Mojtaba Khamenei's status is still unclear. So we have to remember that he was put in a coma, allegedly, from strikes. So we don't really know what's happening. But what we do know what's happening is that the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran holds as tensions rise in the Strait of Hormuz. And I don't know about that ceasefire. Iran is not pretty much, that's a funny ad that just popped up. Iran is not willing to really end this war anytime soon. They want to protect their land, and that they're protecting their sovereignty. They're fighting for their sovereignty, right? Rubio tries to shift war's focus from combat to the strait. With President Trump again trying to change the war's parameters, the Secretary of State outlined an entirely new mission that had little connection to the original justification for war. Meanwhile, cryptocurrency is still running, and it's still going, right? We're all waiting on the Clarity Act for pretty much any kind of developments to come up, but we don't really know. Bitcoin's at $81,030. Ethereum's at $2,363. XRP's at $1.41. And so the fear and greed index is at 49, which is neutral. We're a little bit better than yesterday, but meanwhile, the crude oil is still pretty not good, right? They're not doing good. WTI crude ended today at $102.40. Brent crude ended at $109.90, and the Murbain crude $106, and the natural gas at $2.78. And most prices we're seeing here at Michigan, at least, we're getting at least $5 gas prices. So be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're going to look through some of the Twitter algorithm and everything that's going on. support the show, support the news, support the information. And hey, if you want to work with me in real estate, you're looking for real estate, it's always a good time to buy real estate. It's always a good time to get invested into the market, get yourself your first home. And if you're looking to sell your home, I can absolutely help you with that as well. eXp Realty, we have all the resources that you're going to possibly need. So contact me, link in the description. And also, if you want to contact me at all, you want to interview on podcasts, you want to talk more about what's happening geopolitically, you want to talk more about business, Gold Shark Media, right? Gold Shark Media will help you grow your brand. We can do all of that for you. So a lot of big things going on today, and we're going to kind of look at the news and some of the biggest stories that have been in the algorithm today. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Again, there hasn't been too much news today. I mean, it's really just been a lot of political stuff. It's really been a lot of, people running for politics. That's really what it is, right? We're coming up to the midterms, and we're going to see who's going to take Florida. We're going to see who's going to take Ohio, right? And so there's been a lot of controversy between Nick Fuentes and the Casey guy. I don't really know much about him, but from what I've heard about him, he's pretty good. So we'll see. And then James Fishback is also running, and I hope he does really well. So here's a clip from James Fishback. Young men build this country. Young men can save this country. The crowd then breaks out into a massive applause. James Fishback is the clear crowd favorite in this candidate forum. So let's take a look at this video here.
With 800 people. This is not the exception. This is the norm. Thomas Jefferson was 33 at the signing of the Declaration of Independence. James Madison was 25. Alexander Hamilton was 21. Young men built this country. Young men can save this country.
Very true. That's absolutely right. That is absolutely
Let me acknowledge the fact, and I say it with humility, that our campaign is crisscrossing the state. They said we were an online campaign until we showed up at Waffle House with 300 people. We've since been banned. And then we crowded FAU with 800 people. We have visited 61 of our 67 counties because we are meeting young, old, black, white. It doesn't matter. We're meeting people, Floridians, Americans.
That's right.
Face this.
And that's a little clip from James Fishback. Fishback for Florida. I don't know about you guys. What do you think about James Fishback? Is he good? Is he bad? I think he's pretty good for the movement overall, and I think there's going to be a lot of potential with what he's been bringing to the table. Another big story that I wanted to cover was the ticks. A lot of ticks are allegedly falling all over the entire United States, really all over the world, but all over the United States in particular. And it seems like a Bill Gates operation to me. Pray that this treatment works out, or better yet, that you never have to deal with it. Look at this. This is disgusting. So this is like the newest thing. This therapy may be able to reverse alpha-gal syndrome, aka tick-induced meat allergy. So when we look deeper into this, Solomon Articular Allergy Treatment, SAT, uses acupuncture in the ear, a single needle placed for 3 to 4 weeks to help the immune system reset. Western medicine isn't ready to show how it works, but there's some evidence that it's quite effective. 126 patents treated, 129 reported symptoms remission. More studies are needed, but this is compelling data. Red meat, which is beef, lamb, venison, and dairy plus collagen are incredibly nutrient-rich foods that are vital for optimal health. Not being able to eat these is a big deal. I hope this therapy is studied more widely and that this information gets those who are suffering with alpha-gal. So again, these ticks have been coming across the entire country, and it's kind of gross, right? It comes, in my opinion, it does come from these little posts right here. This is where everything's coming. Steak becomes poison. What's left? Bill Gates' lab-grown meat. It's called the Lone Star tick, and its bite can make you allergic to meat for the rest of your life. In 2010, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation gave grants to Oxitec, a biotech company that does research on genetically modifying ticks. All of a sudden, this tick population exploded from a few dozen known cases in 2009 to hundreds of thousands today. That's insane. Like, nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about how we are literally being poisoned. You can't even rely on foods. You can't even rely on non-GMO foods today because they're basically poisoning your entire livestock with these ticks, right? So think about this. It's all it takes. You eat a burger, hours later, your body goes into attack mode, hives, vomiting, severe pain, even anaphylactic shock. Why? Because these ticks can trigger alpha-gal syndrome, an allergy that makes your body reject meat. That's insane. Beef, pork, lamb. Foods you've already eaten your entire life suddenly become something your body treats like a threat. And here's what makes it worse. The reaction is delayed, so people don't even connect it at first. Doctors often miss it or misdiagnose it, and some people deal with it for even years. Meanwhile, these ticks aren't rare anymore. They're expanding, they're spreading, showing up in backyards, parks, hiking trails, places people feel safe. This isn't the creation of fear. This is reality catching up to people who've never heard of it. Check yourself after being outside. Take tick bites seriously. Don't ignore strange reactions to food, because the last thing you expect is for a tiny bite to change what you can eat for the rest of your life. And what's even scarier about these tits, that these tits actually carry syphilis, a lot of them. And they're creating these spike protein organisms within your body. Found across the United States, carries a dangerous sugar molecule called alpha-gal. Just one bite can change your life. The end game, when you eat real meat anymore, what will it be? What will be left? So people need to be really thinking about what's happening and how your government is trying to poison us. A tick pandemic has begun in the USA after Bill Gates' genetically modified mosquito incident. Now, due to the release of genetically modified tits into nature, ticks have attached to animals in 50 states. Unfortunately, they attack almost every living creature in the wild. Due to the occurrence of alpha-gal, the public has also become unable to eat red meat. If you recall Bill Gates' statement in 2021, he had said, "We plan to reduce red meat consumption to 0 by 2030. Very creepy.
Now this might be the most
Look at
ticks
this.
I've ever seen on any animal ever. That is insane. And look at the size of them. They're enormous.
That's crazy.
Huge ticks on this girl. But we just got this python out of the Everglades, and she was sitting on a clutch of eggs.
It's very blackpilling, is it? Is it not like blackpilling? Like, it's just so demoralizing in many ways that our government is truly trying to kill us, and that you're not allowed to talk about it. You know, everybody's at their job. Everybody's busy at their job. They don't want to lose their job. And because of that, we don't want to talk about it. But these people need to be, like, sued and prosecuted and convicted. And so much worse. Bill Gates. Like, how come Trump has never pardoned them, right? Or, I'm sorry, how come Trump pardoned these people? How come Trump never threw these people in jail? How come he never threw the book at them? It seems like it's so easy to get everybody else in trouble with the U.S. government, with the DOJ. But it doesn't seem like the people who are at the helm of all of this are getting in trouble at all. Dr. Fauci, nothing happened to him. It's all good, even though these COVID vaccines killed millions of people. And then now we're supposed to just believe that, oh, it was just an accident, medical malfeasance. Yeah.
And you can see she popped this egg right away. You can see the embryo in there is starting to look like a snake. It's got scales developed, so these weren't too far off from hatching. So we got her out just in the nick of time.
Very, very sad. This is the state of America. They are trying to kill you all. And not to scare you or panic you, but people need to be paying attention to all of this, right? Remember when we confronted Josh Reyes? This is a new big story. James O'Keefe released this. The lead regulatory scientist from Johnson & Johnson, our undercover journalist caught him on camera admitting, do you have any idea the lack of research that was done on those products, the J&J vaccines? None of that stuff, the J&J vaccines, was safe and effective. Not only did he deny his own identity when O'Keefe showed up, he also fled into the woman's restroom to avoid addressing his comments. Reyes tried fleeing the scene to avoid responding to his comments, so we followed him down the street. Take a look at this video. So again, all those people in my police academy who wanted to say, well, the COVID vaccine's good for you. I really believe it's safe. I believe it's safe. The COVID vaccine's good. It's good. It's good. You need to take it, or you're just crazy. You're not a doctor. You're not a doctor. You need to take your COVID vaccine. Well, it looks like you were all wrong, and I was right, and I knew I was. And it's amazing how nobody really likes to believe the facts when it's right in front of your face, because you've been so psychologically programmed into believing that everything around you is safe. You believe that this little tiny bubble you're in is just made for you, and that nothing can ever touch you. And even the United States government and the big pharma industries, but they think about this all day, and really it's about making a profit, right? Look at this.
You're going to deny your identity?
Yes, sir.
And you said that your vaccine was not safe and effective. You said that. You know, where is
I love these videos. James O'Keefe is such a hero. What a patriot.
Are you confused?
We need to be doing this to all of these people.
I am a human man. I am allowed to take a pee in the man's restroom. You shouldn't be surprised that this happened. We
Dude
have
tried
no
going
idea
in the women's restroom even.
I got it
That's
from
how
your
panicked
mouth.
he was. Didn't even know which bathroom he went into.
Stand behind what you said and explain to us what you meant by it.
Do you have any idea
Right here.
the lack of research that was done on those products?
Joe Biden says that it's safe and effective, but like he didn't know.
There's no proof. I mean, none of that stuff was safe and effective. People wanted it. We gave it to them.
That's the thing. They didn't want it. I was one of the people who didn't want it. I remember the academy, in the police academy at the time. That's when things were going down with COVID and all of that. They even asked our academy. They had everybody raise their hands, and they asked, how many of you would get the COVID vaccine? It's like they were trying to get a test basis. They were taking a litmus test. They wanted to see who was willing to get this vaccine. And I was one of them who didn't raise their hand, of course. I didn't want no COVID vaccine. I had read all about it. I was engaged. I was always focused on this stuff. And half the classroom, almost over half the classroom, rose their hand and said, oh, yeah, we'd be willing to get it. And that's crazy, isn't it? And so, then the other half of the class did not want to get it. One of the girls in my academy, she had a little brother who ended up going autistic, verbally unable to speak because of these vaccines. And that angers me. And you think about these issues that we have today, and you think about the levels of autism we have today, you think that's just by accident? Or you think it's because when you have a baby, you're sticking your baby with 25, 30 vaccines? Yeah, maybe that's the reason, right? And so then you got these people who are getting paid $350,000 a year to basically lie to you, tell you how safe it is, feed this information to the news, so that way doctors can make 30 grand on every single diagnosis that they write down for COVID, including motorcycle accidents, people who didn't even die of COVID.
I'm sure somebody's going to get sued for that stuff eventually.
I'm sure somebody's going to get sued for that stuff. Yeah, it's going to be you. It's going to be you people. It's going to be you people. And I'm not talking about you, the audience. I'm talking about these people that are in charge of all of this, who are pulling all of this. I don't think that this is going to go on much longer, personally, and it shouldn't. Meanwhile, this is also going on. Hezbollah showed an FPV drone hitting 3 Israeli soldiers in Bayada, southern Lebanon. Fiber optic guided, unjammable, costs almost nothing. Israeli answer so far, nets on vehicles and nighttime movement. So Hezbollah needs to fight in the dark in order to basically be able to carry out their entire genocide on Lebanon, which is exactly what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's what it is. It is a complete and total genocide, and nobody's allowed to talk about it. If you call it that, they call you an anti-Semite, but facts are facts. And as Ben Shapiro, a Jew, once said, facts don't care about your feelings. Look at this. They can't even fight in the daylight. They have to hide in the darkness. And at the end of the day, yeah, I'm not a fan of Hezbollah. I'm not advocating for Hezbollah or anything like that. I'm not advocating for any of these wars to continue on. The point is that we are at a crossroads, truly. And we have to understand that this war that we are being forced to go into with Iran was perpetrated by the Israelis for their interests, for the greater Israel project. And this is the fundamental truth that everybody needs to come back home to when they get confused about all of the other disinformation and the misinformation and all of it, all of the confusion, the programming that is happening within your algorithm, things that your eyes are consuming. So you have to understand that this entire war of attrition that we are now involved with Iran, they're not going to stop. They're going to keep on fighting, and they're going to probably win because we are on the globe. That makes no sense. They want to take Karg Island. At least that was the talk of about a month ago, right? Trump wanted to take Karg Island. That was off the table because they pretty much get bombed right off of it. And who knows what's really happening, right? We only know what we are seeing in the algorithms. But I like to study the algorithms because, again, this entire war is wrong. And it is not a war that is militarily strategic for the United States, for America. It's a bad look on America because we don't support this. This is a Zionist effort, a Zionist war, and this is not a Christian war. This is not a holy war. This is a satanic war. This is truly, just horrible what we're seeing. And I think it's going to be remembered for decades on just how these Israelis really are, who they really are. And at least not all Israelis, not all Jewish people, of course, because there are many Jews today that are, obviously talking out against this. They're speaking out against all of the things that are happening. And so we can't label every single person in this group. But at the same time, it is the Zionist sect of the Jewish people today that are creating these endless wars, and they're putting the people of Israel even in danger. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, though, what you're really seeing from all of this, again, you're seeing a mass occupation. You're seeing Argentina, the Patagonia forests, being burnt down so that way Zionists can go in and buy it up, scoop it up, settle on it. And then you're also seeing in Turkey, that's going to be happening next. Everything you're seeing right now in Lebanon, that will be happening in Turkey. They've already said that. Erdogan, who is the successor to Netanyahu, has already spoken about this. And we have also basically the Greater Israel Project that is about at 80%, 85% completion, I would say. And so what are we doing about it? Well, the United States Congress has pretty much got their hands tied behind their backs, and they're bent over for Israel, and they're saying, yeah, Israel first, daddy, Israel first, baby, and that's what's really happening. And so it's pretty ugly. And at the end of the day, we're all kind of feeling like Tim Dillon right now, right? Because after everything, it was really since Charlie Kirk, a very JFK-like assassination, and who knows, we know that it wasn't the Israelis, right? It was Tyler Robinson. But when you ask me, I look at all of this and I say, well, maybe there's a connection here. And maybe there's a connection to everything that happened with that death. Maybe there's a connection to the Israelis because to me, again, it looked awfully JFK-like. And so at the end of the day, when things are hard, we go to Tim Dillon to laugh. And so let's take a look at this clip. But I kind of agreed with this because as much as I support Charlie Kirk, I'm a huge fan of Charlie Kirk. I love the work he did, and I don't want to defame Eric Kirk's reputation, but I did think this was funny. And at the same time, it's actually important to outline it because it's true. He made some good points here, and everything that happened with that day was off and just not right. Something is going on that you're not supposed to know about. And so, Tim Dillon, everybody.
I mean, let's get up Erica Kirk, please, too. Let's take this. Let's watch Erica Kirk here. Is this the fake one? We got to get the real one. Get the real
I just
one.
love that.
Is funny, though.
But yeah, this is just next level.
I mean, this woman,
very shady.
Just be less famous.
Right?
There's a very easy answer for whatever this woman's problem is. Be less famous. You can be less famous. Like, that's allowed legally. You can be less famous. Take a beat. You're oversaturating. I've seen this before. I've seen A-listers go down the tubes because they don't know when to stop shoving themselves down people's throats. Take a beat. Take a minute. Regroup. Grab your team. And by team, I mean children. And go make up dinner or something. The woman won't stop. And then she gets mad that people keep making fun of her. It's because she won't go away. You can be a bit less famous. Go on. Eric.
And she also worked for the CIA.
Kirk, friend of the show.
That
Mossad, I would say.
nothing will ever be enough for the evil in this world. Our country has become unrecognizable.
Like, what's with the dark outfit? I don't understand this whole get-up. Like, is this supposed to be a play on Elon Musk's dark MAGA? Like, she's got the dark MAGA hat going on. And she's got the dark outfit. I just don't really understand what the whole objective here is. What is the image she's trying to portray? Because at the end of the day, to me, it's shady. Look at this.
Because of the aliens?
Perverted the truth to the point that they motivated the murder of my husband. They have continuously tried to assassinate the president, and anyone who stands in their way is labeled hateful, racist, fascist, and every other.
Why are you saying they, though, Erica Kirk? Erica Kirk, I thought you said that it was Tyler Robinson. We don't need any more investigations. It's Tyler Robinson. He's the one who did it. I don't want any more investigations into my husband's death. That is what Erica Kirk said, though. I'm a little confused, Erica.
Trigger word that is grossly dishonest. We want the best for our country. They don't.
She doesn't. All right.
And who is they? Who is they? Is that MAGA? Is that America First? Is that the America First sect? Is that the Israelis? Or is that the left? Who is they?
Let's pause it. She doesn't have to do this.
Right?
Take up this mantle.
Totally.
It's getting to a point where, I feel bad for this woman. I really do. I mean, what happened to her husband was horrible. I mean, I don't know her. I've never met her. I know people that know her. Some of them like her. Some of them think, I don't know what's going on. Some of them are confused. I'm confused. I don't know what's going on.
We all are.
I don't know why she's choosing to.
It's the whole point.
Continually be everywhere. She's everywhere. Like, you got to take a minute. Take a minute. Take a minute. Slow it down. I'm not telling you to stop. Slow it down. Slow it down. That's the great lesson here.
And that's what everybody's saying.
Slow it down.
It's just
Take
weird.
a beat. Take a minute. Take a breather.
Right?
This is a full court press. We don't need it. We don't need it because if you put yourself out there, people are going to go, listen, you're a political figure now. People are attacking her.
And by the way, this is politics. She did take up the role of CEO of Turning Point USA. And again, we all appreciated that. We respected that. And people stayed away for a couple of weeks. But then it got a little bit out of hand. We saw the sparklers and all of this show, this shtick. And it's like, what is this about? You know, what is with the whole J.D. Vance thing? What is with this ex-boyfriend thing? What's with the Romanian angels? What do we need to know about this? What are they hiding? What's with the CIA video or the Air Force video that she featured in, right? Where it was really CIA. Grok won't tell you that. Or the ChatGPT definitely won't tell you that. Google won't tell you that. But do the research. This is why we watch the videos. And it's all just very strange.
The woman, this is not the way I've seen anyone personally grieve. Personally. I've never seen anyone grieve like that. I'm not judging the way people grieve. I mean, I guess I am.
Tim Dillon, she's a strong feminist woman, okay? You just don't respect strong feminist women, okay? Right? That's the whole narrative.
Grieve in different ways. I've never seen this way. That's all. I'm allowed to say that. I'm allowed to say it. By the way, not being mean to her, not saying what happened wasn't horrible. I have personally never seen a human being grieve this way. I've seen people grieve many different ways, never this way.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I'm saying. That I've never seen a person grieve in this particular way. This strain of grief is new to me. That is also, I'm adjusting to it. I think America's adjusting to it.
Agreed.
And I think her beef with people is that we're not adjusting quickly enough to her way of grieving. We've just never seen this one before. This is a new one. Give us a minute with this. Let us adapt to this. Let us adapt to this way of grieving that, and if it's her way to do it, it's her way to do it. Far be it from me. I'm not trying to take away what she needs to do. I think people need to do what they need to do. And if this is what she needs to do, that's fine. I'm just personally confused, and I'm, a little shocked.
And you're not supposed to talk about it because she's, all of this is specifically meant to keep people quiet because it's like, now she's the CEO, but she's also a grieving widow. And so it's really unethical, of course, to question her, to talk badly, or to, really, again, criticize anything that's really happening in the way that it's happening. But at the end of the day, this is politics, and she chose to carry on and to take on this role so quickly. What? And then bragging about T-shirt sales and ticket sales and all of this stuff within like 11 days. And then she's like talking about all the operations that are going to be happening right away. I don't know. Strong woman. Definitely a strong woman. Definitely did a good job getting over it in a quick manner. And then we consider, the X's.
And it feels a little bad taste. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. Doesn't make her a horrible person. It's just a new way to grieve. We're all learning together what she needs in the moment. Free advice, as always, give advice free on the show. I do like you to pay me money in other ways, but free advice to her. Take a minute. Take some time off. Take some time. We all need it. Take some time off and then return with whatever you want. I don't care what you do. Write a book, do a one-woman show.
There you go.
Go on tour. I don't care. If I'm her, I'm popping up again around Christmas. I'm taking the summer and a lot of the fall. She's not going to want to pop up around Halloween. That's the devil's holiday to her. You pop up around Christmas. A lot of this will be probably forgotten. God only knows where we'll be as a country at that point. And you can just come back. it's fine to come back, but you need to go away to come back. The people will be excited if you give it a minute. Go away, and then when you come back, it'll be exciting and fun, and people will forget about a lot of this behavior that they're confused.
Seriously, it would be a better strategy. I mean, come on.
Just do that. It's free advice to her, friend of the show. Truly, I don't know what's going on. That's the theme of all things.
I think people are going to find out real soon. I think people are figuring it out.
The whole thing feels odd. I guess there'll be a trial with Tyler Robinson, and we'll all be convinced of his guilt. Right? I guess that's going to happen. And I guess when that happens, fine.
Nobody would be allowed to question it.
I don't know that he didn't do it 100%. It smells off. It feels off, for sure. And I'm not saying she whacked the guy. I'm just saying I'm sure there'll be a trial, and everything will be put to bed and to rest, and we'll all be satisfied with the results. If there's not an alien invasion first.
We'll see. Alien invasion.
I imagine if there's an alien invasion first, this trial and all other subsequent trials will get put on hold. Good night. And
so I definitely agree with that at the end of the day. This is what happens when you notice. So again, I wanted to play this clip as well.
Related to what we see going on in America today and in the Middle East. And since this
is like a normal guy right here. Sacramento City Council, public comments, matters not on the agenda. So again, this was recent. Take a look at what this guy has to say.
Came across that in school and didn't see it in the library, and the media never talks about it because it's controlled by the people who follow it. I think it's interesting to know exactly what's in there. I think a lot of us need to know what's in there because it does affect people's attitude toward us. It's actually dangerous to talk about. Sanhedrin 59A, a goy. Now, what is a goy? A goy is a sheep or a cattle that is controlled. That's what a goy is. A goy, Gentile, that's me, who pries into the law, Talmud, is...
Now, before the Zionists get in the comment section and start saying, the goyim means of the nations. Yeah, that's what the goyim word means, but then the goy translates to cattle. And the Jews believe that those who are not... Anybody who is a non-Jew is cattle, is a goy.
Guilty of
read all over the Epstein files, right?
So what that means, and I have experienced unprecedented hatred and threats of violence since I came up here and started talking. And you can tell from her attitude that what I'm saying is absolutely true because she doesn't even look at me as a human being. I am simply an anti-Semitic in her eyes. That's pretty amazing. I actually called her and she would not talk, but she'll sit here and disrespect me. I'm going to talk about any council member. Council. No. Every council member is subject to criticism, including you. If you don't like that, resign and let somebody else take your place. This is what public discourse is about.
Freedom of speech, First Amendment.
That's what it's about. You have to sit there and take it. If you don't like it, I'll take your place, and anyone who criticizes me, I'm coming back. You can't do it because you don't have the truth on your side.
100%. Well said.
So that's Sanhedrin 59A. Libre Davids 37. To communicate anything to a goy about our religious relations would be equal to the killing of all Jews. For if the goyim knew what we teach about them, they would kill us openly. That's in the Talmud.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our
And
next
then they try to cut him off. Does this not irritate you? Look at the way they set up these rooms, right? You ever think about the way they set up a city council room? It's so the city council sits above you. They sit above you and they get to judge you on everything. And it's like you have to plead to them. And you don't even have the people, behind you. They're behind you, right? But it's in such a manner that it's almost like all eyes are on you. And then the people in front of you, the city council, are looking down upon you. Like they're so high and mighty. Yet these people couldn't run. They could never run a farm. They could never do anything themselves with their own hands. They could never work a full day's work. They don't understand or appreciate how this actually, works. Because they've never worked. And a lot of these people are like that. Or some of these people are just some of the most credulous, arrogant city council members, and they don't understand their own laws. They don't want the conversation to happen, just period. No. And so this is what needs to be done more often. We need to put these city council people in their place and let them know that they don't have the power. We have the power. We hold the cards, and that we're watching them. We control them. They don't control us. And beyond that, if you can't talk about simple things, ethnocentricities like Judaism, if you can't question the basic things of what these definitions and words mean, what the semantics mean, the meaning of the words, of the meaning, all of this, if you can't question it, then what kind of country do we really live in? We don't live in a country. We live in a tyranny. And so these city council members just don't understand that if they keep acting this way and if they keep forcing the line with this aggressive, tyrannical kind of behavior, shutting people up, shutting off their mic, talking over them, not letting them have their time when it's specifically the freedom of speech, First Amendment, then the Second Amendment is going to start being used, and it's going to start being used on them. I'm not calling for that. Absolutely not. I don't call for any violence. But I'm saying that this is going to happen eventually. These city council members are asking for it. These kinds of people who want to they think they're so high and mighty and above the people who actually create their societies, who build their societies. And it's like, I think they're going to be humbled real soon.
Here is Mac Worthy.
Mr. Worthy.
How does this make sense to you?
Worthy.
That's it.
Has this happened in your town? When was the last time you went to a city council meeting? Because I don't think a lot of people go to them because they're afraid of this right here. This is why people don't go to them. They want you to never have the courage to stand up to them. They never want to be stood up to. They think that they really are that powerful. And I say this as a cop. I've seen it myself, but they're not. They're nothing. These are people who believe they were elected. And some of them, nobody even knew them. They were just on the ballot. And so in many times, many instances, many cities, they vote each other in. They install each other. It's not even a real system of governing. So what happens when you question these touchy subjects, Israel, and the meaning of the Torah and the Talmud? That's what he was reading from the Sanhedrin. That is from the Torah, the Talmud. And he's reading scriptures of these and how it talks about the Goy, which are all non-Jews. And then you look at the Epstein files and how the Epstein files, same language, the Goyim and all non-Jews, and how the Jews think they're so much smarter than everybody. It's like, you're not, though. You're not. And it's actually the Asians that have the highest IQ, by the way. And then next would probably be white Europeans. And then next would probably be Jews, I'm guessing. I mean, you'd have to look at the data, vice versa. But the point is, there is no superior race. These people think that they are a superior race. And I'm talking about the Israelis specifically. Not all Jews are like this. But this is the attitude of the city council that we see today in most towns. And I think it just needs to be completely just dismissed, just disavowed. And I think we're coming up to those times. There's going to be a revolution in this country. And I hope if there's any city council members watching, prepare for war. And you're going to lose. This is war. We're not going to back down. You're not going to silence us. You don't have power over the people the way you think you do. We gave you the power. And never forget that. It's us who controls you. We are the more powerful. So stop stepping where you shouldn't be. Or you might just find that maybe there'll be a 1776 again, and you don't know, you won't be able to handle it. Just remember how Marie Antoinette let them eat cake, ring a bell. How did we handle her? Maybe all these city council people should really think twice about that and just how it is the people who have the power, not you.
You're done.
Your time is complete.
Who was Germany fighting in 1933? That's all he asked. Who funded the 60 movement? The Jews. What did blacks get out of it?
You know what?
What did blacks
Don't
get
have
out
to
of it?
listen to this vile.
It ain't no.
I'm not going to listen to this vile language, this anti-Semitic language. Oy vey. Oy vey.
Yes, you are. You go sit down.
You don't have
go
the
sit
authority.
Come and make me sit down, buddy. Come and make me. Get your sheriff to come and get me. Seriously, like this is how these people are. They sit behind their little table, their higher up table. They're sitting high, feeling powerful, but they have no power. And their wives know that too. Their spouses know that. That they're powerless little munchkins. They're like little goblins. And that as soon as everybody stands up, they're done. They're over. And that's all that it needs to be is people awakening to that.
To know what the streets is.
Cut him
You don't
off.
have
Cut him
no
off. I'm not
authority.
going to hear a bunch of stereotypical stuff about
You don't have no authority.
Cut him off.
Mr. Worthy,
Done with
Government Code Section 549.
You're done.
You cut off.
See, if this was somebody talking badly about white people, though, that conversation would be allowed to happen. Just saying. Very interesting how that works. If this was a conversation about even black people, if he was talking about his own people, well, that would be allowed. But if it's about Jews, no, that's a stereotype. Oy vey.
4.3 provides that a member of the public may address the city council on an item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the legislative body. Please proceed if you have comments under the jurisdiction of the city of Sacramento. The comments are
These
not.
people are so afraid of what's coming to them. They're so afraid. They just know that their time is so limited, so short. They're done. All we have to do is rise up. It only takes one. It only takes a few to just say what is true. And really, if these people won't step out of power, we will physically take them out. And we will take them out of power, not violently, politically, legally, and lawfully. They will be taken out of power.
Under jurisdiction of the city of Sacramento, nor specific to the agenda item.
She's not going to listen.
Mr. Mayor, I have no more.
These people aren't human beings. They say that non-Jews are, non-human beings. And I'm not saying these people specifically are Jews, obviously. I'm saying that it is the attitude, this attitude of these city council kinds of people, these commissioner kinds of people. They think they're so high and mighty, so wonderful and great, when it is the people who put them in those chairs and on the stage. And now these people feel obligated to just shut you up for your freedom of speech? I say no. I say we shut them up. I say the American people stand up against them. There needs to be more city councils filled. These people should be afraid, because when the government is afraid, then there is liberty, as Thomas Jefferson once said. But the other way around, that is tyranny. What you're seeing is a tyranny. And this is our war. This is what you're truly up against. This is the reason for all of the mass migration. These people are the reason for your borders being open. These people are the reason that Charlie Kirk were shot. Overall, at the end of the day, it is their attitudes, their inability to do anything, to research anything, and just their pompous attitudes towards the people, their arrogant, just uninformed opinions. And really, many of them are informed, and they're just their true lust for power over you, over your rights.
Okay.
And this is why they will be done. In the next decade, they will be over. The scale of this engineering is terrifying. People don't realize that this thing is alive. It looks abandoned. It looks frozen. It looks forgotten. It is none of those things. The Kalasian RT-64 is a 64-meter Soviet radio telescope hidden in the Russian forest, still listening to deep space, to pulsars, to dying stars, to spacecraft drifting between planets. I thought this was pretty cool. So yeah. And it's where you see a lot of nuclear codes coming out too, by the way. Very interesting. The Russians have something about them. Scary people. They're coming. At the end of the day, we also have some breaking news. Iran says they bombed a U.S. warship twice, and it's completely unable to sail. So look at this.
Frigates.
Update from Alex Barnico. Be sure to give him a follow.
Some breaking news. Iran has bombed a U.S. warship, and the war is back on. And Iran said, quote, we successfully targeted a U.S. frigate after it ignored a warning. And this comes at the same time Iran has carried out at least 15 missile strikes onto the UAE. And so you need to know what's happened. Well, Iran says that this American frigate tried to transit through the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran has forbidden that. As Iran said, they carried out strikes onto the ship successfully and hit the ship twice because of that.
Oh boy.
Iran said the ship was, quote, unable to continue its route due to these hits, and it was forced to retreat and flee the area. And as I said, this comes at the same time Iran carried out strikes onto the UAE, and a photo has come out saying Iran has bombed an oil storage facility in Fujairah there. Now, it's worth knowing that the US, as we'd expect, has denied that Iran successfully hit one of their frigates. The US has said, quote, no US Navy ships have been struck, and we are supporting Project Freedom and enforcing the naval blockade. So the US denies it, but Iran claims they've bombed an American warship, and they're quite open about the fact they've also...
And don't forget, at the beginning of this live stream, we talked about how 10 US troops have been killed.
Now bombed the UAE. And so the war is back on, at least from Iran's perspective, and so I'd very much expect that in the next few hours today, the US and Israel will carry out their own strikes back onto Iran. And so, as I did last time during the war, I'm going to keep you up to date on this round of the war. So leave me a follow, because I'm going to cover every...
Definitely not good for the United States, right? Not good for Trump's narrative, not good for what they want you to believe. Super fun facts about our greatest ally, Israel. So I wanted to get into this. Let's really get into this. I thought this was a great, very good post. Lay Stern Gang, Truman assassination attempt 1947. Militant Zionist group mailed a letter bomb to President Truman. Fortunately, the plan was foiled when the White House staff defused it. There's one little op. Number 2, Operation Cast Thigh Bread, 1948. Israeli forces poisoned wells in Gaza and Palestinian villages to prevent Arab return. Number 3, we have the Levant airfare false flag in 1954. Israel recruited agents to bomb cinemas, libraries, and Western sites in Egypt, aiming to blame Egyptians and the Muslim Brotherhood. Then we have number 4, CIA JFK files, redaction request, 1998 and 2025. CIA requested removal of all mentions of Israel from the JFK assassination files. That's interesting. But we recently got those files, and we saw Israeli intelligence all over the place. Mossad, baby. Who were those dancing Israelis again? Oh yeah, that's right. They were just a regular film crew. They were just art students. The full unredacted documents released in 2025 confirm this. Number 5, pro-Israel PAC or pro-Israel PAC funding for Congress. Over 83% of U.S. Congress members receive major donations from pro-Israel PACs. Many sitting members even list them as their top contributor. Number 6, record pro-Israel donations to Trump 2024. Pro-Israel donors gave over $230 million, largest single contribution in history, including $100 million from Miriam Adelson. Number 7, we have the USS Liberty attack in 1967. Israeli jets and torpedo boats deliberately struck the unarmed U.S. Navy ship in international waters for over an hour, killing 34 Americans and wounding 171. Not allowed to talk about that. Just we're talking about our greatest allies here. Number 8, the Numak uranium diversion of 1960s. Hundreds of pounds of highly enriched uranium vanished from a Pennsylvania plant and was diverted to Israel's Dimona reactor via Zionist-linked insiders. We have number 9, Project Pinto nuclear smuggling. Israel used Hollywood producer Arnon Milchan with Netanyahu as the front of the company to smuggle 800 nuclear bomb triggers out of the U.S. Wow, that is something an ally would do, wouldn't it? Ehud Barak Epstein meetings. Former Israeli Prime Minister met with Jeffrey Epstein between 20 to 60 plus times. I'm sure that's nothing. Epstein-Rothschild ties. The Jeffrey Epstein admitted ties to the Rothschild family, including close business dealings and a $25 million consulting agreement with Arian de Rothschild and Edmund de Rothschild Bank. Number 12, Netanyahu Iraq WMD claims. Oh, we heard this many, many times. What, 500,000 times, maybe 6 million times? Current Prime Minister pushed false claims about Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction to justify a war. Here we are hearing about how Iran is going to have a nuclear weapon if we do not attack them first. We've been hearing this since 1967. Israel nuclear ambiguity. The only nuclear-armed nation that never signed the NPT and has never allowed a single IAEA inspection of Dimona. Number 14, pro-Israel attacks on critics. Groups spend millions on ads to defeat U.S. politicians who criticize Israel. Example, the attacks against Representative Thomas Massie. Why is that? I thought they were our allies. I thought they respected our freedom of speech. Huh. Well, wouldn't that mean that they're not our allies? Well, maybe I'm just crazy. Unconditional U.S. aid. Israel has received over $300 billion in American foreign aid. This is more than any country in history and with virtually no conditions on Israel's end. But shut up and pay your fucking taxes, bitch. Because if you don't, then you'll be arrested, and you're a bad American. Number 16, Israel requested Iran conflict. According to the U.S. State Department website, the recent Iran war was launched at Israel's request. Number 17, JFK Dimona inspection demand 1963. President Kennedy demanded U.S. inspections of Israel's secret Dimona nuclear reactor and was assassinated shortly afterward. Hey, but that's what friends do. That's what you do to your friend. You kill them. They ask a question. They inquire about something that, maybe something you didn't want them to know about. You just kill them. Rise and kill them first, right? The motto of the IDF. We will rise and kill them first, right? That's what friends do. Samson option, nuclear doctrine. Israel's official policy threatens to launch nuclear strikes across the Middle East and potentially beyond if the state faces an existential threat. 19, we have Ben Shapiro, Israeli intelligence tasking. Former colleague publicly stated he witnessed Ben Shapiro receiving direct tasking from Israeli intelligence linked to Netanyahu and called for FARA registration as a foreign agent. A little bit of hearsay there, but yeah, he admits it all the time, right? Hey, Sorry, Ben Shapiro. To quote yourself, facts don't care about feelings. Maldives Israel entry ban backlash 2024 to 2025. Maldives banned Israel citizens in solidarity with Palestine. The country immediately began receiving threats of terrorist attacks. So, greatest allies, Israel. Thank you, Maria Adelson. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you. We are so grateful for our greatest allies and for all of the great things they've done for us over the years. Truly, truly the chosen people. Indeed. Maybe not by God or anything. Maybe not by Christ, but, we kind of know who that could be. Maybe Baal, the person or the God that they worship, Hashem. What's happening in Ukraine right now? So let's move on to the next story. Seriously, though, what is up with our greatest ally? Yeah, we got to keep on believing that that's true when we know it's not. What's happening in Ukraine right now is the plan for every white European goyim on earth.
Their
So I
own
see a
homes
lot of these
and
videos every day.
forced into the front lines to die for their country, while
This is coming
Zelensky
to
are
America.
importing third world immigrants, and Ukrainian politicians are driving around in
How does this
luxury
make you
cars in foreign countries. And
Are you loving it yet? Do you feel free yet?
media isn't saying anything about this.
Then you have big corporations like BlackRock buying big plots of land in Ukraine. Yeah, totally random.
This looks like a really
Those poor
well
Ukrainians, right?
planned ethnic cleansing of the
Talking about their leadership, not like the actual people and the men who are dying in war, obviously, who are being dragged into these vans.
Ukrainian people and their culture. And if you can't see the corruption in this war, you must be as blind as a cave salamander. I mean, this is insane. Ukrainian
Yep.
men are being
And that's coming
dragged
to
out
America
of their
next.
own homes and forced.
Seriously, no audio. Just look at that. That's going to be you. What if that was you? What if that was your brother? They're going over to die for literally a different country, for Israel. And for what? No gratitude. The controls to the shaped charge are under Harpol's clothes. Watch every move. So this is a theory. This is another video that popped up recently on the Charlie Kirk assassination. Wanted to cover a little bit. What do you guys think about the Charlie Kirk assassination and what really happened here? But let's take a look at this video real quick. You can kind of see when we analyze the body language here. This man seems to be acting a little strange, or even a Secret Service guy, even like a security guy here. So the big theory is that right where my cursor is, they're saying that this little device, allegedly the device that was used to assassinate Charlie Kirk, came from this guy. It was like a control mechanism button. Who knows, right? I mean, we're going to find out in the future, probably 50 years later, just like we did with JFK. You know, when your grandkids are coming around, when your grandkids are like 20 years old, 27 years old, they'll probably be coming out with how the truth behind how Charlie Kirk was killed. You'll be getting them from like declassified files and all of that stuff, right? But we're all speculating. This isn't the truth. We don't know, right? But we're just analyzing any kind of new videos that pop up. But I did think it was interesting. So this guy's saying that right under his armpit, where his rib cage is this maybe a button under his shirt, and then something in his right pocket here, right where my cursor is. So, and then again, he ends up communicating with this one lady throughout the entire thing. Wonder if I can get this to play back. Yeah, play this a little faster. Okay. All right, we got this going a little bit faster. So when we look at this dude, what do you guys see? I mean, it's definitely a little bit shady. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Kind of a little suspicious behavior for somebody who's in security. I don't know. But just from my take on it, definitely looks like he could be up to something. You know, I mean, this is typically what you'll see these security guys looking like, but I'm sure he knows the game. He knows what's up. That could have been a signal there. Could have just been his lip. Who knows? See a lot of different weird things happening all at once. Looks like he's checking his surroundings, normal kind of thing. I'm guessing that was his gun. Something under his waistband there, though. So he keeps reaching into this right pocket, messing with his waistband. His pocket and his waistband, he keeps kind of messing with. Photographer kind of looks a little strange, too. Talking about the one in the red hat. But look at this lady right here. So what does he give her? What is this thing that he gives her here? So he pulls out some kind of packet. Try to pause it here and catch it. So maybe a marker? No, he didn't hand her a marker. He put that back in. Couldn't even really see. So who knows what that was about? I'm a little sick, sorry. And he goes back about his business, checking the surroundings. Again, this is all normal behavior overall, what you'd expect from bodyguard work, security work. Checks the time. Again, all pretty natural stuff. But what's unnatural about this is he does keep reaching into this waistband, into that pocket. Keeps trying to intentionally cover it up. He does seem to have a bulge there. Again, that could just be his holster, though. It looks like he's got a gun on each side. Looked like I saw something on his left leg there, too. Definitely see a bulge there. Who knows what that is? Like, what's this little square thing in his pocket? Who knows? We're all just speculating here. We're not Candace Owensing. We don't know the truth. We can't pretend to know the truth. We have to analyze everything, though, right? All the new footage that comes out, we're always going to break it down. We'll analyze it. And if you see something, leave it in the comments. If you see something that I'm missing, what am I missing here? This lady's making her movements, making the rounds. So this is another guy I was always suspicious of. This dude right here, Mr. Lean. He's got the black T-shirt. He's in definitely, I mean, you definitely tell he's military. He's got that ready stance. He's got that ready position, hands out in front. And then you got the guy recording it right here. I think these are all three of these guys right in a line. I think, again, guy with the white hair here, with the white cap here, the baseball cap, and then Mr. Lean with the black T-shirt. And then he gives like a signal. Oh, I guess it didn't show the signal. So a lot of people think this guy had like some underarm gun. Can't really tell if that's the case or not. I didn't see any gun. Didn't see him put anything under his armpit here. But still, all worth speculating. So very weird. I mean, who knows, right? Maybe all normal, maybe not. But at the end of the day, this is kind of what was being said about it. The detonator/trigger is under his shirt, right below his armpit, along the upper rib cage. And then the remote controller is in his front right pant pocket. This is what this is what caused the audio interference. So who knows, right? Again, we're just speculating here. Who really knows? All propaganda could be, but we got to analyze everything we see. I think it's rather important. So what do you guys think? Moving on to the next story. Israel is a terrorist state. Yes, they have tried to convince the world that there is a ceasefire and that the genocide is over. Every day they kill more children and steal more land. A child stands silently, staring at the face of his brother who was killed by the Israelis. And again, viewer discretion advised. Sorry, I always forget to warn people about that. But it is brutal, and I'm making you watch it because there needs to be some level of humanity, and people do need to talk about it. And I guess if nobody else is going to talk about it, and if there's going to be this small group on Twitter who's going to talk about it, then I'll talk about it too. And why not, right? There needs to be humanity. We need to make changes. Someone open-sourced a tool that tracks 25,000 ships, carrier strike groups, spy satellites, and GPS jamming zones on one map. It's called Shadow Broker. 2,000-plus live CCTV feeds, free and open. This should make Washington very uncomfortable. Yeah, it should. But this is the technology they paid for. This is what Trump paid for. Billions of dollars. What was it? $650 billion to Mark Zuckerberg? Or was that what he said it was going to be worth? I don't remember. I thought it was like $600 billion or something we've put into AI, to the Maven smart software of Palantir, and all of these, targeting platforms and all these things for artificial intelligence, what we used basically in Lebanon for the Israelis. We gave it to them. We just gave it right to them. Thank you, Trump. Gave them all that intellectual property. And now Israel's doing what with it? Committing genocide. And then they're blaming us. They'll blame us. The history books will blame America because we could have stopped it. So I do think this is important to outline because we have played a lot of Israeli videos here kind of exposing the Israelis. I think it's rather important to show the other side of it too. And people need to be reminded that whether or not there's an agenda here, it's true that over 100,000 anti-Zionist Jews gathered in upstate New York for a Lag Bomer, I can't pronounce their words, celebrating a publicly denouncing Zionism. Today we honor one of the greatest Torah authorities of Jewish people. We're blessed with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Photos of the crowd and banners to follow. Let's say it clearly, Zionism is the antithesis to Judaism. So this is kind of what they're shouting in this video. So what do you think? You think this is performative? a coordinated op. I do personally. I think it is coordinated. That's kind of my theory on it. I can't say that. I'm not going to speak for all of these people because, again, we have to remember that not every single person is evil, and we have to be able to decipher good from evil, and that there are, Jews who don't agree with everything that's happening in Israel today. There are Jews who are not Zionists, who are anti-Zionists. So allegedly, these are those people. Then again, though, didn't seem like they were coming out against any of this during Gaza. Didn't seem like they were coming out against any of this while all of this was going down. And if I remember correctly, in Brooklyn, New York, when the NYPD made an entire bust on the Lev Tahor Jews, and when they basically had made it was basically a whole sting operation. The Jews had said that they were just building tunnels for renovations and things like that for their synagogue and ritualistic stuff. I believed when they're pulling out beds with feces on it, or it even could have been blood. Again, we don't know that for sure, but weird stuff. And why are they coming out now with this? Isn't it a little late? Isn't it a little bit late? To me, this seems like it's all part of the plan, right? This was always the idea. Once they get far enough into the operation, then yeah, portray yourselves as actually against the war. Because remember, we have Hasidic Jews, we have Orthodox Jews, we have a lot of different sects. But at the end of the day, from what I've been seeing, I don't think there's any. I think they're all in support of it. You do your research, like 60 to 80% of Jews in Israel are totally down and supportive of what's going on over there, right? 60, 80%. And then a lot of these Orthodox Jews are also on board with it too. So it's just weird to me, the timing that they feel the need to come out and, be against Zionism. And it's like, it's great that they are, but at the end of the day, I want to see more, right? Let's just say, maybe you should start running for, actually, maybe not, right? Maybe not. We don't need any more. We need them to be speaking out against Netanyahu, though. If you really care about what's happening, to the Jewish people, if you really care about the genocide that is being committed right now in Gaza, the displacement of families and children, innocent children who have done nothing to you, all for a blood libel. Again, some will call me anti-Semitic for saying that, but I do believe, according to my religious studies and theological studies, then that appears to be what this is and what it's all about. So, why come out now about it? So I want to see more of it. And I like to see that there's so many against it, but I want to see more, and I expect to see more, because it's just not right what's happening in Lebanon. It's not right what's happening in Palestine. And, there needs to be peace at the end of the day. Needs to be a peace and a respect for your own people. And, Semites, at the end of the day, Palestinians are Semites, and these Jews are killing them. And it's like, well, who's the real anti-Semites? Seriously. This is from the Health Ranger. Wow, that the data centers are now classified as military operations, so you can't oppose them. Interesting.
You would think there would be a moratorium on data centers worldwide, but there isn't. They're spreading like an aggressive cancer, and the consequences are proving to be deadly. You may have heard about Project Matador, a data center being planned for the Texas Panhandle, which is set to not only be the largest in the country, but in the world. It is planned for up to 18 million square feet.
How do you feel about data centers?
Approximately 6,000 acres.
Ready for these to just be built everywhere around you? And, get ready for it. Right, get ready for this. This is going to be huge, because Kevin O'Leary, he's building one in one community, and the community had tried talking out against it, and they just got shut down. Just like the video I showed you of the city councilman shutting down those two people for questioning the state of Israel, same thing's going to happen with these data centers. You're going to see these things being built in your small towns. You're going to see these data centers getting built all around, and small communities, like wholesome communities, they're going to suck out all the water supply, and basically you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it as the middle class, as you're already struggling with bills, as you're already struggling to keep up with house payments, as you're already struggling with all of the things that are happening from this war, all of that. You're going to still pay for this. Will Elon pay for it? No. Will Mark Zuckerberg pay for it? No, of course not. Will Sam Altman pay for it? Gosh, no. It will be you. You're going to pay for it. And if you got a problem with it, then you're a criminal.
And will reportedly use up to 96 billion kilowatts
Get
of
a load of
electricity
this.
per year. Some people are speculating that it would use far more than that, maybe double or triple that number, but let's go with the conservative number, 96 billion kilowatts. Currently, all of Texas homes combined are using approximately 172 billion kilowatts annually. That means Project Matador is set to consume roughly 55 to 65% of all Texas residential electricity use. And that is just one of the hundreds either in operation, construction, or planning stages. To give you the figures, there are 87 in operation in Texas that we could find, approximately 135 under construction, and a pipeline of over 600 data centers planned in Texas alone.
600 data centers. And mind you, these things are freaking huge. Look at the screen. Look at how big they are. Look at the farmland to scale. Look at that. 600 of those. This is going to destroy Texas. It's going to destroy the United States. You know, did you know that this is like the main GDP for the next decade? This is the main GDP for America. This is what we're depending on. Meanwhile, every other country is creating jobs and creating infrastructure, all these jobs for their people. China has actually went out against the power of AI. They took a step down so that humans would have a role in the AI. Very interesting. In America, we're saying, no more humans. It's going to be universal basic income, central bank digital currency. And then basically you're going to be locked in your houses. You're going to own nothing and you're going to be happy, according to the World Economic Forum, Charles Schwab. This is the whole plan. And if you got a problem with that, you'll just be killed off. It's really easy. CIA can do it. Israel can do it. Mossad can do it. FBI can they don't need to do it. FBI will just do it. They'll just send the cops over your house. They'll arrest you. They'll call you some kind of terrorist or some kind of racist or whatever. You'll spend 10 years in prison for it. We all will who's speaking out against it. It's going to be brutal. And, hey, but data centers, thank God you have them because, hey, they're going to be able to collect all that data on you. That's what it's for, collecting the data on you. So that way they can throw you in a jail cell and a gulag. Then you won't be a problem for the elites anymore. Thank God for them, right?
We continue to hear reports of how these data centers are absolutely destroying communities, and it's happening all over the country and the world. A small town in Louisiana is in chaos because of Meta. Take a listen to this report.
Meta's new $27 billion AI data center is causing chaos in a small town in Louisiana. In February, I flew down to Louisiana, to Richland Parish, a rural county where Meta is building a mega AI data center. Just to put it in perspective for you, this AI data center is 4 million square feet, 2,250 acres. That's roughly 70 football fields. When I was in Richland Parish, I spoke to over a dozen residents and really got to hear their concerns. People are talking about how their rents are going up because there are thousands of workers coming from out of state, staying in these massive RV parks. I also spoke to local businesses that are suffering. While there are definitely businesses that are making money hand over fist, you're also finding small businesses that are struggling because they can't get in with the right people or get the right catering jobs for the Meta workers on site, for example. And then you're also just seeing a tremendous amount of noise and bright lights. This is a massive site that's brightly lit all night long, and people just see a halo over their house. It's important to keep in mind that this area of Northeast Louisiana has typically struggled with jobs, with poverty, and this AI data center is considered to be an economic boom opportunity for the whole.
An economic boom opportunity. Are you ready for your economic boom opportunity?
Region.
I don't think it's going to be that at all,
actually. A lot of people ask me whether these mega AI data centers are worth the disruption. I can tell you that I've now visited 5 across the country, in Texas and Michigan and in Arizona, as well as Louisiana. And I can say it's hard to tell how it's going to play out. They are incredibly disruptive. The residents often don't realize what's happening until it's already happening. There are many people.
Start speaking out about it now. Now is the time for people to start going to their city councils and actually making a point of this. You should, you should share videos like this, find these source clips and play them in your city council and talk and speak out against this because it's not good. I mean, ultimately, I say that as an AI guy. I build AI systems and I think I do it for a living. But at the end of the day, it's like there needs to be a limit to the AI.
Who still hope that the long term is beneficial for these regions, but right now it's chaos.
Now, she's giving a very conservative take there. Well, we don't know exactly how this is going to play out. We're not sure if this is going to be beneficial for communities. In my opinion, anyone giving you that take simply doesn't understand where they're taking AI, the ultimate control they will have with it, and the ways in which these data centers are going to completely drain water and energy to the point where communities won't be able to live there anymore.
Either that or they're just plain dumb and they know exactly what they're doing.
In my view, that may be the entire point of continuing to put these data centers in rural communities. It serves the smart city agenda, make the countryside unlivable so people have no choice but to move to the cities.
Bingo.
And what are they going to do next to ensure communities have absolutely no say? Well, now it's a military operation. That's what's happening in Utah, apparently. The proposal for what is referred to as the Stratos project will actually rival Project Matador in the Texas Panhandle. Jason Bassler on X says the largest hyperscale data center in the world is being proposed in Box Elder County, Utah. It's approximately 40,000 acres, 62 square miles, backed by Canadian millionaire Kevin O'Leary. Fast-tracked by Utah's Military Installation Development Authority, backed by Governor Spencer Cox, with the public locked out of the decision process. Utah say hello to a 50% increase in CO2 emissions, polluted water, and 24/7 noise and light.
And so look at that. It's going to put off carbon emissions. And what is Bill Gates going to say? He's going to blame you for the carbon emissions and say that humans are the problem.
Pollution. So is this the new tactic? Apart from all the NDAs that they had in place to make sure that communities couldn't find out about the fact that data centers were planned for their areas until it was too late, now we have millionaires or billionaires coming in, foreign born, by the way, saying, hey, we're going to partner now with the military. This is now a military operation. And guys, you have no say because this is needed for national security.
And this is the abuse of capitalism. This is, as a capitalist, I say this is the negative sides. This is where you get crony capitalism. This is where you get private entities and defense contractors coming in, swooping in, abusing everything about capitalism, and then turning this into socialism real quick.
That is certainly the case with this
Communism.
particular installation in Utah, it seems. And just in case people don't understand how horrible this actually ends up being for a community, how unlivable this makes a place, here's just one example. Noah B. Price says, this is what it sounds like living half a mile from a data center at 1 a.m. They're sucking 5 million gallons of water per day in a drought state, while you can't even collect rainwater in some places. It's true, they've made that illegal in some places. Constant raw, no sleep, destroyed property values. This is the AI future they sold us? Wake up. Take a listen to this clip.
How annoying is that? I don't know if you can hear that. That's the sound of the data centers. It sounds like an air conditioner in your car or your room, but louder. Like a truck running in the garage. $1 a.m. in the morning. Imagine that.
So you move out to the country, you want to exit the rat race, you want to exit the surveillance state, you want to return to a more natural style of living, and some foreign millionaire says, or billionaire says, no, this is now a military operation and you don't get to do that. So that's only part of how it's actually destroying communities. Light pollution, EMF, all of the bleeding resources or sucking up resources. Those are some of the issues. But then the technology that these data centers are powering is very much potentially deadly, and it could have been in this woman's circumstance. An American was driving a brand new car, in 2026 car. The car gave her an alert that said it couldn't see her eyes.
Yeah.
The car then automatically disabled the gas and slowed down enough that it could have caused an accident. She had to lean forward so the car's facial recognition could register her eyes and stop the kill switch because the car thought she might be asleep.
The kill switch.
Quote, it was a 6-lane highway and all of a sudden the gas stopped working and I'm pressing on the gas. I can't get the car to go, so the car is dinging, it's making all this noise, and I can't figure out what's going on. And I look at the dashboard, and in English it says, sit up straight. We can't find your eyes. Why? Why do you need to see my eyes? When I sat upright, the gas would work once again. And so I pressed the gas, but I was slowing down enough that it was going to cause a traffic hazard. And the thing is, I knew I wasn't asleep because I was pressing on the gas, so it knew I was awake. It just wanted to see my eyes. So once I sat upright and leaned forward, I guess it did facial recognition. And then it says, may I send you these results to a third party? This is horrifying considering the new mandate to have kill switches in every new vehicle by 2027, which Republicans just pushed. It looks like it's already happening. And the Post says, but overseas, we're just next, except this woman is actually an American. You can hear that if you listen to the video.
So crazy. Like in 2020, by 2027, you're going to be forced to have some kind of electric vehicle that is going to detect your eye movements. And if your eyes aren't like perfectly aligned to the steering wheel exactly the right way, and even like your heart rate, your heart monitor, like if your adrenaline, let's say you're in an accident, say you're close to getting in an accident or something. Oh, car shuts off. Imagine the accidents that are going to happen from this. In order for them to reach this level of AI sufficiency for these vehicles to actually operate correctly, it is going to cost so many human lives. And that is the problem with all of this. At the end of the day, they're forcing this on you. You can't have a regular car anymore. You can't even have it hybrid style. No more like putting the actual key in the ignition. No. Push to start. 2 years, that button will be gone. And then, basically, at the same time, the government can just shut off your car whenever they want. And they made fun of this in the movie Scary Movie 4, if you saw it. There's a scene where Lil Jon, the real Lil Jon, is driving in a vehicle in the scene. Brenda and whatever her name is, Sydney, in the movie Scary Movie 4, they're literally walking through town. Nobody's car is working. And basically, Lil Jon says, I got the last working car in New York. And then basically somebody they all steal his car. So if you remember this, it's like this is all happening today. It's all predictive programming. Everything you've been seeing in Hollywood, the movies, they're telling you what's going to happen. The Terminator 2 future is really what they want. And we have to avoid it. Same thing with these data centers. You just have to reject it. There has to be absolutely just no acceptance of it. In the UK even, a country where it's like they've been pretty much conquered and there's like no sovereignty anymore, even they are standing up against the mass surveillance, the flock cameras, all these things that are getting your eyeballs and they're checking your heart rate as you walk down the street. Palantir, it's all of this technology that has data to your entire life. This is going to be the war. This is the Terminator 2 future if humanity chooses to not fight back and basically just fuck up the system a little bit. There needs to be some resistance, a lot of resistance to the data centers and then to these electric vehicle mandates. I'm all good with electric vehicles. I like innovation, but at the end of the day, there needs to be hybrid solutions. There needs to be a two-world solution for people who want to have a regular car, and want to have control over their vehicle. And so this makes you realize that people need to become more innovative. You got to start learning how to fix up cars yourself or something, or you got to hire, we need to have more companies that are, building, the regular cars again. And then again, there needs to be absolute and total resistance to these data centers. So I wanted to play a little bit of that clip. Thought it was pretty interesting. Now, this was 8 hours ago. War Secretary Hegseth on restarting presidential fitness tests in the U.S. schools nationwide. It takes young people to run a military. So this is like really weird to me. Like they had all these little kids coming in talking about this. And then, Trump was going on about how the Iran war is a good thing, all of it. So it's really strange. It's just like, what is the agenda here, right? So here's Hegseth on why we need to have that presidential test, which I'm not totally opposed to. This is JFK had one of these too. What do you think?
That we need to infuse into our young people. And obviously it takes young people to run a military. And as the secretary pointed out,
it takes young people to run a military. So that's all that's on their mind, the military-industrial complex.
Almost 3/4 of American young people do not qualify for military service, and a lot of that has to do with their physical fitness. So we're proud at the War Department to put this first into Department of War education activity. Our schools, 161 of them, across 30 installations. It's going to be mandatory for the young kids of those service members who use those schools. And we hope that's a pilot for all of American education. We hope the rest of America follows. We need young, strong, healthy Americans, whether you serve in the military or any other aspect of your life. And I think this presidential fitness test, Mr. President, is a perfect thing to restore that sets those standards high for young people and something for them to achieve.
So I'm definitely not opposed to, a presidential fitness test and all of that. The issue is that, he said it right there, that the entire purpose for that is for the military. So what are they saying? They're basically prepping up a long-term war. That's what this is really about. That's what Hegseth is saying without saying it. right? So, yeah, we want a strong country, and we should have standards. Everybody should be in shape. You should be able to run a mile without stopping. You should be able to do 100 push-ups as a young person. You should be able, or as a young male at least, and you should be able to be at, prime condition. All of that is real. We should be an in-shape society. We need to be healthy. But the issue with this is that the real agenda for all of it is that this is all about the military, to Hegseth, to Trump, and really about this Iran war, continuing it. What's even crazier than that, this is the U.S. northern border. Okay, so take a look at this. I thought this was pretty shocking, right? A lot of people don't think about the northern border. They think about the southern border. They think about how bad that is. Well, this might be even worse. This is the U.S. northern border. A nation without borders is not a nation. It's so widely open that it's impossible to keep track of every gotaways. It's beyond irresponsible to be helping other countries grow their greater plains or expansions when we can't even focus domestically on our own issues. Before we go fighting and spending our tax money on other countries, let's secure our own nation. So look at this.
There you have a quad right on the border. And like I've been reporting to you guys for months, there are actual quads, ATVs, and UTVs currently being used out here to move these people away from the border deeper into the United States. This is not a conspiracy.
And there's been continued reports on this in ICE.
Very much so. Like they utilize these ATVs, four-wheelers on the southern border. It is pretty much the same groups operating in different locations, but their patterns are all just the same.
So again, who knows if that's real, but at the end of the day, that's kind of been the buzz today. The U.S. had their weapons stolen from them. What are your thoughts on this?
When those massive protests in the US had their weapons stolen from them, billions of dollars worth. Also, this makes sense. I'm going to bring you back to about 2 months ago when those massive protests in Iran were taking place. You might remember them. Well, those protests got pretty violent, and it actually looked likely that the Iranian government was going to be overthrown. And so the US decided to jump on that bandwagon, and they started trying to arm those protesters to give them a better chance at overthrowing their government. Just after the protests finished, Trump said, quote, "We sent guns to the protesters, a lot of them." But something important is the US did not directly send those guns to the protesters in Iran. The US actually sent all of that weaponry to the Kurds and the militant groups in Kurdistan for them to then transfer them into Iran and give them to the protesters. Well, it turns out that the Kurds who were given those guns to give to the protesters actually kept the guns. And what's worse is we don't know where those guns are. Trump said, quote, "We'll see who has them." He also said, quote, "I'm not happy with the Kurds. The Kurds did not deliver."
Like Trump, do you even know who the Kurds are? Do you even know the history of the Kurds and how the Kurds started? Like, do you know how that all became? What the CIA created the Kurds basically through skirmishes and civil wars within Syria and Iraq, and basically created the Kurds. And this is a fighting force close to Al Qaeda. And so this is who we are like motivating and giving guns to. Insane. To basically push forward this entire regime change that the CIA needs so badly.
The weapons. And so in short, the weapons the US tried to send to the protesters have been stolen, and we don't know where they've gone. Countless times, the US has time and time again just left weapons or had weapons stolen from them and similar things like this, and it's just not a good look. I mean, Trump was the first one to condemn Biden when he pulled out of Afghanistan for leaving all of that weaponry, $70 billion worth of American weaponry.
All that talk, and Trump is doing the same things now.
Handed over to the Taliban. Trump condemned that. It was one of the main things he campaigned on at this election. But now Trump has done the same thing himself, probably on a smaller scale, but still similar things happened.
Right. So ultimately, it's like not going so well.
The US.
So again, I just think this is all weird. Another video of these kids or whatever. Iran was 2 weeks away from killing you. Like what? This is so weird. So like talk about propaganda, talk about like this is like so this should remind you everything about what you've seen in World War II. You know, and this is a wartime president, and this is what you need to know about it. It's like you look at this, and it's like, look at the way, you know, this is a message to the youth right now. And they're just going so hard to motivate and to continue going with this Iran war narrative and how we must be fighting them, even though we already had the Strait of Hormuz before this entire war started.
We just broke every record, and now we're going to take a hit because we have to make a journey down to Iran to take the nuclear weapon. They would have had a nuclear weapon in within 2 weeks. Remember, we sent that beautiful B-2 bomber in, and we blew up their nuclear potential. It was obliterated, for those that are not aware, and to a point where it would take them weeks to dig down, and we wouldn't let them dig down. We have our eyes on it all the time. But it was a very important thing. So we would have
all Netanyahu narrative, by the way. Iran has a nuclear weapon.
Had an Iran with a nuclear weapon, and maybe we wouldn't all be here right now.
If I had a penny for every time I heard that, man, I wouldn't be needing to be doing this. I'd just be rich. Like I would have more money in real estate than anything if I would just made a penny for every time these politicians said, Iran can't have a nuclear weapon.
I tell you, the Middle East would have been gone, Israel would have been gone, and they would have trained their sights on Europe.
Oh, boo-hoo, that would have been so sad.
Because
if Israel was just like
and we're not
treated
gonna
the same as the way they treat everybody else.
The power of a nuclear weapon is something I don't even want to talk about. But it's not going to happen, and we have beaten.
Yeah, so kind of weird. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just get like weird vibes from that. It's like, what? We bombed an innocent school of like 190 Iranian school children. What are we talking about here? Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. They didn't bomb an innocent school in America with 190 children. They probably will now. They'll probably try now. Yeah, because we just did it to them. You know, so it's crazy to see the language of the White House is just who is advising Trump at the end of the day. You know, it's Lutnick. And, you know, it's Scott Bessant, the guy who broke the British pound with George Soros. It's like, look at everybody who's around Trump. It's literally just sharks. You got Rubio, who is, again, he is Jewish. You have J.D. Vance, who has an Indian wife. And, again, he has Indian kids who dress Indian. They talk Indian. They just became Christians like yesterday. It's like, this is who's surrounding Trump. And everybody's just like, oh, yeah, Trump's right. Look at what you're seeing in front of your eyes, right? Focus. Oh, I don't even want to talk about this one. I am banned from YouTube. The great silencing continues. So again, this guy he has a pretty big account, Eric Warsaw. If you didn't know who he was, we'll just take a look at some of his content here. He does a lot of exposés, journalism on, you know, Israel and questioning a lot of that issue. And now YouTube has basically taken down his channel. Isn't that great? So this is what's happening to the freedom of speech. YouTube, don't do this to me. I think I analyze things objectively. I think I am a truth seeker, but at the end of the day, this is happening to everybody. This is going to happen to anybody who speaks out against Israel. Ultimately, that's the lesson in all of this. So a little bit of more wholesome Twitter. So again, I thought this was kind of cool. Take a moment away from the crazy news and look at some ancient culture and the ancient instruments used. Kind of sweet. Kind of sweet. Kind of neat when you look at it. All the different instruments that were used in the ancient times, the ancient civilizations. It's what they would sound like today. Pretty amazing. No iPhone did that. Kind of cool. It's kind of pretty cool when you look at it, the old hieroglyphics and everything. Kind of neat. Kind of neat. Something cool to take away. A viral online effort to buy Spirit Airlines as a crowdfunded company is getting more serious. The future CEO, Hunter Peterson, provided an update. They are now up to $132 million in pledges and working with a top-tier law firm to put forth a legitimate offer next week. So this is potentially going to be the future CEO of Spirit Airlines.
Okay, I just got off 2 calls. One with one of the largest law firms in the world that specialize in mergers and acquisitions, aviation, distressed assets, and debt. And they basically said, this is doable. We can do this. I also got off a call with someone that represents high net worth individuals who may be interested in just basically giving us some money to just burn to figure out the legality of this, because in less than a week's time, they are going to auction off the operations certificate for Spirit. We don't have a ton of time, and I need to figure out a way not to raise money. I can't take any money from anyone, but I can take on angel investment from high net worth individuals. So, Mark Cuban, what's up, man? Get in my DMs right now, or any high net worth individual who's like, yeah, I've got $500,000 or $750,000 to just burn. You want to burn? You want to try and save this airline? Get on my DMs. Let's make this
Let's
happen.
see if it
And
happens.
to be so clear. If we take on this money, they don't have any more voting rights than anyone else. I'm going to be so clear of, you're doing this to burn money, just to prove it can happen. I will not take a single cent if someone wants to, in some way, shape, or form, put control over this. No, not happening. We're doing this because we're doing something different. If someone's going to get involved that's really, really wealthy, it's because they see the vision, see the value, and want to be a part of it. That's it.
We'll see what
Okay, bye.
happens. We'll see what happens. But that is potentially the future CEO, Hunter Peterson of Spirit Airlines. Meanwhile, the humanoid robots just ain't figuring it out. They are malfunctioning at a school sports day in China. Look at this video. So the robots are going a little bit crazy. They're not able to handle a lot of people in one place yet. Look at this. This robot's doing roundhouses. You're dancing and your robot will be giving you roundhouses. What happens when it's in your house? Roundhouse in your own house. Look at that. This is AI. This is Sam Altman's AI. This is Elon Musk's AI. This is what it's all come to. This is the $600 billion that we put into the industry. This is what it's all so worth it for. Look at that. And these things are like damn near kicking, killing, trying to kill. Crazy. So that's the future of artificial intelligence. Well, at least not the future, right? But maybe a little bit just more refined. So it's like if that is the natural instinct, because there's a lot of people around it, what do you think the natural instinct is going to be when this artificial intelligence becomes even more intelligent? It should scare the living daylight out of people, I say. This is the $250,000 Zapata air scooter, lightest single-person mobility vehicle. So you'll be seeing a lot of these popping up in the future.
Single-person mobility vehicle? Wow. And it has this huge windscreen for panoramic views. And on the other side, this is the controller, just a single joystick. And that is how easy this is to fly. Check out this button. So if you press this in an emergency...
Like, I've been waiting for something like this personally because I hate driving on the road with truckers personally. Like, the truckers should have their own road, in my opinion. And these things would be kind of tight. It would be kind of cool to be flying these around.
This will take the air scooter home. The back is where you fill it up with gas. It is a hybrid powered vehicle, so you'll have 4 electric motors and 4 fuel combustion engines. You can fly this up to 62 miles per hour, and it has over 2 hours of fly time. This will cost you $250,000 to buy, or you can fly one at one of the flight centers. There's going to be one here in Las Vegas for $500 and just 20 minutes of training.
I definitely want one. Probably not safe. I'm sure it would kill everybody. I'm sure it's got a kill switch, right? But at the end of the day, still. So that's kind of the news for today. Let's look, or that's some of the stuff I bookmarked. Let's look at some of the breaking news in the algorithm. Let's look at what's new. Gregory Bavino, you are most welcome, Chud. What's this about? Look, I get it. A lot of us are demoralized watching rhinos and Chamber of Commerce types run for office. They talk tough, but sell us out for cheap labor and open borders every single time. But here's the brutal truth. Sitting home or splitting votes isn't an option. This midterm, we vote the rhinos out and replace them with people of real substance, fighters who actually stop immigration. If we don't act and Democrats regain power, they will flood us with 40 million more illegal aliens. Well, the Republicans are already doing that, though, Greg, which they will legalize. Then the country is lost forever. This is the Hill stand. Vote as if your future depends on it, because it does. I mean, yeah, I agree with what he's saying, but at the end of the day, it's like it's really the Republicans that are not doing anything about the border or deportations or anything right now. It's the Republicans who are doing it. And the Democrats are always a problem with that, obviously. Democrats just want to let everybody in. They want the most dangerous people in. They want all the criminals in. They want all of that to just completely take over America, right? But we need to take charge of it. Benjamin Michael, loyalty to a leader is honorable, and if said leader remains committed to the cause that made you follow them in the first place. Nick has repeatedly shown he has no such leader. He has already threatened to leave the United States if the Democrats take 2028. Now he is bending the knee to the replacement of our people. That's not a leader. That's a coward. So let's hear what he had to say here.
We already live in...
I mean, yeah, a little bit of a black pill, but let's see what he actually said.
Dude, my war against Israel is the only thing keeping me going at this point.
With you.
Immigration, who gives a shit? Country's over. It's over. Have you been outside? Do you ever actually even leave the studio? Do you know what it's like out there? We're already a non-white country. Get a grip. Get real, bro. We already live in Mogadishu. We already live in
It's true. I think he's right.
Islamabad.
He's making a point.
Have you been outside? LA, Chicago, New York. We live in nigger hell. And that's just it's what it is. I know it's not exactly politically correct to say that. And listen, I know that's not exactly
This is a free speech platform. We don't hate anybody. Not talking about any specific race. This is a free speech platform.
politically correct. Sorry, Snowflake. What, do you need a safe space? Did that just trigger you?
He's right, though. Fuentes
That's
is
where
right
we
about
live.
this.
That's on my Twitter, where it gives like the pin, your location. Drop location. That's where we all live right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's like one clip. If you were to really listen to that exact episode, what Nick was saying is that, unless we have changes, unless we actually have a political change, unless we have a far right-wing Republican in 2028 who is actually going to do everything that Trump ran on, then yeah, that is going to happen. That's what he was saying. So he's not saying that America's completely dead. He's saying that right now we're on that track because we're not doing what we got to do. Right? As Republicans, it's like we're letting these Israelis take over the entire country, the narrative. And, the Israelis have every intention of, carrying out the clergy plan, the Great Replacement. So that's what all of this is, all of this mass migration, the H-1B visas that Elon Musk is so on board for. All of that, this is what Nick Fuentes was talking about. And so, the only thing I disagree with Nick on is that he went against that Casey guy. He's running for Ohio. I don't want to mispronounce his name, but it's like at the end of the day, minus that one disagreement, it's like overall he's right. It's like we need to have a lot of changes in the Republican Party. Otherwise, we're basically Trump is a Democrat now. He's because look at what's happening in your country. You think this is gonna get better? You think this is gonna get better with more immigrants? This is what Nick Fuentes is talking about.
Move forward. One step. Move forward.
This is what Nick Fuentes is talking about. Police line. This is why he's so red-pilled, or black-pilled. This is why Fuentes is saying we're already screwed. It's like, look at your country now. Look at what's in front of your eyes right now. If we don't change anything right now, then we are on the trajectory to lose our country, just like the UK is right now. Much of Europe, just like this also. This is New York City.
Step back.
And again, these people aren't wrong to, feel this way at the end of the day. Like, yeah, America and Israel, yeah, we caused all of this chaos with, Iran, and we caused a lot of this, the Palestinians, we allowed it to happen. And so, and I believe in that. I believe in free Palestine. But then again, this is not the answer. Going after cops who are just like trying to get home every night. That's not the answer. And it's like, you see this chaos. This is what Fuentes is talking about. This is the trajectory we're on. You think it's going to get better? Unless we actually change something. Unless we actually have a more far right wing. Unless we actually have like some kind of law and order in this country again. Until we have justice, a justice system again, where, criminals are getting, put in their place where they should be in prison. And there is also with a rehabilitation system with it that actually works, then what are we really doing? If our police have no power over this situation, and again, they're just protesters, by the way. But at the end of the day, it's like these things become violent. But, you just see these clips and it's just like completely no order, no law and order. And it's like at the end of the day, all of this is happening because of this war with Iran that Trump is pushing so hard and that Netanyahu is pushing so hard. All of this is happening because of all of this. And so it's like, imagine if we were not at war with Iran, genociding, and allowing Netanyahu to carry everything out on the, Gazans and things like that. You wouldn't have these people doing this. And so it definitely leaves a message. It makes that kind of impact. But at the end of the day, these people are crazy at the same time, because they're out here, they want to kill cops and they think the cops are like a member of Israel. So, there's so much contention and there's so much fusion when it comes to the entire Republicans versus Democrats, and you keep forgetting that this fight is really about good versus evil and the truth versus everything that is lies. Otherwise, if we don't fix it, this will be the reality.
Thank you, America, Vishnu. Together, we celebrate this victory.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Ohio, we did it. A landslide victory. One nation under Vishnu. Citizenship for all. Thank you, America, Vishnu.
And again, I have nothing against Indian people. It's just like, sorry, you're not American. I don't want you in my country if you're not here legally, if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, if you can't contribute to the American economy, and if you don't want to assimilate, I don't really want you here, And it's like, I don't want somebody like Vivek Ramaswamy, who is, literally an anchor baby. Why should he be running any kind of political position in office of power? Absolutely not. And so this is what Fuentes is talking about. It's like, if this is the standards, it's like we're hopeless. So we need to make changes. Otherwise, we are going to live in a pretty ugly future, right? Where you continue to see this kind of stuff. Congressman Randy Fine, proud to see President Donald Trump proclaim May 26th as Jewish American Heritage Month. In a time when Democrats mainstream anti-Semitism, the president stands along with the Jewish people in our contributions to America. Well done, Mr. President. Jewish American Heritage Month. Really? Isn't every single month Jewish Heritage American Month or Jewish American Heritage Month? Like, isn't that like every month? It's like every day on Twitter. But no, they got to put it into words. It's like, whose side is Trump on? I don't think it's the America First side. I think it's Israel first. I think he is just Jewish. And it's like, okay, but you're not American anymore, Trump. Like, what are you standing for? Ian Carroll commented, actually, it was Israelis and rabid Jewish supremacists that mainstreamed anti-Semitism. Very true. Nice job, he said. So, yeah, I agree with that. Casey Putsch, kind of hard to pronounce his name, for Ohio governor, end data center expansion, abolish private property tax, Doge, Ohio, / eliminate all waste, fraud, and abuse. I really like this guy. I think everybody should vote for this guy. Otherwise, you're going to get Vivek Ramaswamy. Seriously, if you don't vote for this dude, you're going to lose Ohio. We're going to lose Ohio, and it's just going to become a precedent. Nick Fuentes has been going against this guy for whatever reason, disagree with that. But the point is, it's like, we got to be voting for these kind of people, right? These are his policies. End all human and child trafficking networks, ban investment firms from buying homes, restore right to repair, dismantle foreign visa programs, real innovation and manufacturing support, hold the government accountable, return the American dream to Ohioans, abundant clean energy, end ongoing DEI practices, fully protect the Constitution and Second Amendment. Ohio, get out and vote. Push by 7:30 p.m. Save Ohio. Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. Definitely. Need to be supporting these candidates, because if you don't, you're going to be losing your country to an Indian. And you'll have no more rights, no more Christianity, no more Christian holidays. Everything you know that's great about your life today will be gone. And that's just the way the cookie's going to crumble. So again, we're just looking through some of the breaking news here. Terrifying confession, President Donald Trump. This was 7 hours ago. Donald Trump openly admits he was perfectly willing to crash the stock market by 25%. He explicitly states he wanted Americans to pay $300 for oil just to start a war. The Trump administration is intentionally destroying us.
Also thought oil would go up to 200.
So let's see if he actually said that.
They're learning to buy. They're changing their habits. So when I did this, I thought the market would go down 25%, and I thought that was a great deal if it did. If it went down 25%, I was satisfied. I said, because we cannot let these people have a nuclear weapon. They'll use it.
Put a penny in the jar. It's like, seriously. Again, with this nuclear weapon talk of Iran having a nuclear weapon, that's all they got, and it's not even true. Okay, they have a nuclear enrichment program. And that is a deterrence to Israeli bombing them every single day for their Greater Israel project. This is Trump standing up for Israel first here.
We can't. I also thought oil would go up to 200, 250, maybe 300. And I know it will be short term, but I thought it would go. I looked today, it's like at 102. And that's a very small price to pay for getting rid of a nuclear weapon from people that are really mentally deranged. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, more Netanyahu rhetoric, and at the same time, basically, admitting that the stock market was meant to crash for this war. I don't really believe he wanted that. I think he expected to take Hormuz like it was nothing. I think President Trump thought that Hormuz was going to be an easy take. I really think that Donald Trump anticipated that we were going to easily conquer the Strait of Hormuz. And even though we already had it, right? We already had it. But military intelligence told him we didn't have it, that we needed to go and bomb Iran and do all of this stuff, create a regime change. He thought we were going to just easily be able to topple the Iranian government so we can control all of that oil, not just 20% of it, all of it in their area. And so now we lost it all. We have to regain it, or we're going to have to do a strategic retreat, which we should do, because this is now a war of attrition on Iran's side. Okay, and breaking, Secretary of State Marco Rubio hits back on claims of a U.S. blockade on Cuba. And so again, 4 hours ago, this was posted. Here's what's happening with Cuba. Okay, Cuba used to get free oil from Venezuela. They would take like 60% of that oil and resell it for cash. It wouldn't even go. So they really want to take Cuba right now when we haven't even taken the Strait of Hormuz. We haven't even gotten Hormuz back. We haven't re-secured that. So again, this is Marco Rubio going on and on and on about Cuba. By the way, Nick Shirley was suspiciously in Cuba, apparently being held hostage there, but they let him have his phone. They let him have his phone so he could, like, I don't know, say whatever, peddle whatever he was peddling about the communism in Cuba. Listen, I'm all about taking Cuba. I'm all about the Monroe Doctrine, but can we please just take it then? You know, just take it and stop manipulating the American people and insulting the American people's intelligence. Here's some more of that for you.
Venezuela used to give them a bunch of free oil. They would take like 60% of that oil and resell it for cash. It wouldn't even go to benefit the people. So the only blockade that's happened is the Cubans have decided, the Venezuelans have decided we're not giving you free oil anymore. And you can only imagine nowadays, the way oil prices are, no one's giving away free oil, much less to a failed regime. So the problem with Cuba is worse, okay? Their economic model doesn't work. And the people who are in charge can't fix it. And the reason that I can't fix it is not just because they're communists, that's bad enough, but they're incompetent communists. On Cuba.
Okay. You know, it's like, listen, how about you just be honest about what you're doing? We're going to take Cuba. We want Cuba, Monroe Doctrine. Just say it like you said with Greenland, you know, and just go and do it. Okay? Like, seriously, enough with the talk, enough with the manipulating the American people. We all know you want Cuba. We all know that we're going to take Cuba probably. We all know that that's probably what's next in the cards. Why don't you just tell the American people that? Like, seriously, that's what pisses me off. It's like, listen, just be strategic. And if you want some support in the next election, it's like you got to play your cards right. And these people are just not doing a good job of it. So looking at some of the breaking news here, coming up to the end of the show here pretty much. We'll be covering a lot more of this tomorrow. There wasn't really too much big news beside political stuff. Seeing if there's anything else. The Israeli army is closing the main road leading to the village of Al-Qadar near Bethlehem and West Bank and bulldozing areas around St. George Monastery. This follows a raid earlier in which the Israeli army entered the village, fired stun grenades and tear gas, and assaulted one person inside the monastery. So again, they have to kind of do this at night because Hezbollah's just been kind of wrecking their shit a little bit every time they try to do this stuff during the daytime. James Fishback says he is heck no on AI data centers in Florida. He says he's not going to allow billionaire technocrats to enrich themselves on Florida's resources. Fishback promises to push a moratorium to stop AI data centers from being built in Florida.
Every single day. Speaker Renner, no on AI data centers across the board. I don't care if they have a nuclear power plant. I don't care.
Good. Yeah, I agree with that.
Now let's talk about how we accomplish that and first why we should. An AI data center can use upwards of 500,000 gallons of water. Not every month, not every week, every single day. Speaker Renner knows this. We are living through the worst drought here in Florida in 26 years. Now is the worst time to be talking about these new sucking AI data centers. Your electric bills, those are going to go up more. Simple supply and demand. When more electricity demand comes onto the grid, we pay for it as a result. I say no to welfare queens who want lobster and steak on their food stamps, and I say no to Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg trying to have us pay for their electric bills.
Yeah, 100%.
And allow me to explain the how. How do we accomplish this? How do we do it if there are county commissions all over the state that are tripping over themselves to approve these AI data centers? How do we accomplish it? We have to do what's called state preemption. We have to preempt all of the authority for AI data centers away from greedy county commissions who will do anything for a quick buck and a Rolex, bring it to Tallahassee, and put in place an indefinite moratorium on AI data centers in every single Florida county.
100%. Needs to happen, or you're going to lose your sovereignty. You're going to lose your land real quick. 16 hours ago, what was this? Breaking Fed will inject $7.85 trillion into the markets today at 9 a.m. right before the market opens. These injections are tied to the oil crisis and extreme market volatility. Something extremely bad is coming. Yeah, I think crypto has a lot to do with what's probably going to come with this entire Black Swan event, and I think it's going to be from all of that. We'll see what happens. We'll cover more of this information tomorrow, though. For now, that is the end of this show. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow.